Hi, and welcome to Matcha with Murad, where I, Murad, talk to other creatives about their process, what drives them to make their art, and anything else we find interesting along the way. So join me here every week for a new and inspiring story, and sometimes a quick heart-to-heart from yours truly. You are listening to Matcha with Murad. Hi guys, welcome to Matcha with Murad this week. I am sipping Today I actually don't have matcha. I have a Brew Doctor Kombucha, the clear mind flavor, which is my favorite. So we're switching it up a little bit today, but I don't regret it at all because this is delicious and it's helping my gut at the same time. So you can probably hear from my voice that I'm a little bit sick. That is why there was not a podcast last week. So I am sorry about that. I have been really consistent up to this point, so I feel really bad about missing last week. But I am back this week, and I have some really cool guests lining up for the next couple weeks. So yes, I am back, feeling a lot better, and I want to talk about manifesting today. I thought that would be really fun. I know I've brought it up a couple times in some episodes, and me and Lily talked about it 2 weeks ago, so I think it'd be a really good thing to bring up. I know there's a lot of different opinions about manifesting. Some people think it's, just a bunch of fluffy BS, and a lot of people think there's a lot of substance to it. I have been reading about manifesting and things like that since I was about 17 years old, so I am really passionate about it. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I think it's a lot more simple of an idea than some people like to make it. So yeah, I want to talk about that today and how manifesting in your creative life can be magical, how it can really bring some beautiful things to life. So yeah, let's start with, I think the base of manifestation is faith and trust in yourself. I think that's the first step to manifesting, is you have to develop some kind of belief or trust in yourself if you want to actually create things from your mind. And so I think the tricky part of that is that if you break that trust, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, then your faith gets broken over time. And that's why some people, I think, don't see success with manifesting. That's why I've done that before in the past. I think everyone's guilty of that. But I think that is how you can mess up your manifesting, is if you say you're going to do something like make a song, write a song every day, go to the gym every day, like these types of things. If you say you're going to do that and you don't, then over time you're definitely going to lose confidence. So the base of manifesting is definitely having a trust and faith in what you're doing and what you're dreaming up and knowing that you can do it. And then that is the base. And once you do that, you can really start imagining what you want. And I think we can all relate to that feeling as a kid. Do you remember when you were a kid and you wanted something so bad that you were like, I'm going to make it happen. It doesn't matter what it is. I remember as a kid, I did that a lot. Like, I was very headstrong, and if I wanted something, I was going to get it. Like, when I really wanted a dog, I first of all got a dog dictionary. I learned everything I could about them. I picked like the 3 brands of dogs I would really, really want if I got one. And that's like visualizing if you really think about it. I was like looking up dogs every day and looking at which ones I wanted, how they acted, imagined how that type of breed could be in my life. And then I actually made a presentation for my parents with brochures that I created, schedules, budgets, everything to show them that like we could have a dog. And that's how I got one. And I did that with a lot of things as a kid. Like, I got into this SAGE program at school that I really wanted to be in because it was like a smart kids program, and I really wanted to be in it, and I made it happen. So we all know that feeling as a kid, but as adults, it's almost like we lose faith in ourselves. As kids, we're so much more confident in our abilities, I think. And as we get older, we actually start to lose that confidence. So that's what I have been guilty of for sure. But I've noticed when I get on a roll, I'm really on a roll. So when I get in this roll of actually doing what I want and like really, really wanting it and seeing what it is, then I can make anything happen. So I think that's the first step for sure, is just building that trust with yourself really slowly. So as a creative, it's like you can start with really simple things like I've talked about a million times, like going to the gym every day and things like that. That builds your confidence. But even just as a creative, having little things you do every day, like writing or painting or just drawing a quick sketch or practicing guitar, if you can actually allow yourself to start developing that relationship with yourself where you're doing it on a daily basis and you start seeing like real progress and you start developing this relationship with that thing, then you will definitely start manifesting from that. Like you'll start creating greater things. And so that's one way as a creative to really build that. Another thing is to just really visualize what you want to create and just go for it. Like lose yourself in the moment for like hours and hours on something you want to create. And then sometimes like creative things take more planning. Like, for instance, I'm trying to plan this performance video for my website of me performing my songs and a few other songs. But I want it to be very professionally done where I have players with me. The sound is really nice. Like we have the sound ready for every single player. And there's a videographer and it just looks extremely professional and it sounds professional. And I've been putting it off for months because it feels like this huge thing to me. But the more I want to do it, the more I realize like a lot of these things, if I just made a few phone calls and sat down for like an hour, I could actually really plan out. So it's like when you aren't ready to visualize it, it feels unattainable. But when you start really visualizing, things really start coming to you. So that's what's interesting about manifesting as a creative. But I think the biggest thing about being a creative is you have to have fun and enjoy what you're making, right? Like that's a part of the magic of being a creative. So you have to love it, have to enjoy it. And I think a lot of us make it work because we're all so obsessed with being productive. So probably my biggest tip if you're trying to manifest as a creative is stop trying so hard and just let it happen. If you already know what you want, then you're already doing it, then just let it happen. Show up for yourself when you need to, always show up for yourself and then just do it. I hate that because it's so simple, but the truth is it really, really is like close your eyes and do it. And I personally struggle the most with that with my content. Sometimes it's really hard for me to sit down and make content like the podcast or sit down YouTube videos or like getting out and getting some really cool photo work to promote my songs. And sometimes that stuff is really hard for me for some reason, but the second I'm actually doing it, I enjoy it so much and it makes it worth it. So sometimes it's really easy to build something up in your head when in reality it's not that scary and it's not that big of a deal and you're gonna actually really enjoy it once you're doing it. So that's something that I find really interesting. And if you can get over that hump of building things up and making them seem scarier in your head, your abilities to manifest are going to be insane. Like you're going to be unstoppable because the real truth of the matter is you're probably the only person stopping yourself. So I have to face that fact all the time, and it's actually made me a lot better recently, and I'm really getting to the point where I'd rather have my music out than waste time. Like I'd rather just have it all out. So if you can relate to that at all, I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's something that everybody that listens to this puts off because they're holding themselves back and they're afraid of it. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on manifesting. You, of course, need to write things down. Of course, like wake up and write down what you really want. I mean, if you have to do it on a daily basis, then do it on a daily basis, but add it to your journal entry. I don't know, but you need to write down what you want. And something else that I did for a long time that I'd like to start doing again, because it feels really good when I do, is manifesting meditations where you sit down and you just visualize for like 20 minutes about what you really want to be, to feel like, to look like when you're doing the thing that you're doing. And it takes a lot of energy actually to do that, a lot of focus to actually feel and think and act the way you would if you had what you wanted already. So I feel like that is a very, very strong way to manifest and to kind of pump yourself up to get what you really want. So if you have time every morning, like if you can sit down for even 10 minutes a day and do that, that is huge. And we actually do that in my yoga class now, which I really like. Like one of the instructors, she'll do that. She'll have us sit down at the end of our shavasana, like when we wake up, and just visualize and hum while we visualize, and it feels so good. So that is also something that I think is huge for manifesting. But at the end of the day, just remember patience and that everything is coming if you really, really want it. And if you're willing to work for it, you will get it. I have to remind myself that all the time. Patience is really hard, especially like with artistry, things can take a lot longer than you expect. And it's frustrating when, something might take you 3 years, but it took someone else a month. But you really can't rush being an artist. You can't rush when you're ready. And there's no real time limit. Like no one is really telling you when you can or cannot do something. So just because there's a bunch of like 16-year-olds or something doing what you do, don't focus on that. Focus on the path it took you to get here, and knowing that if you have faith in yourself, if you have real faith in yourself, you can do it. So start there. I promise if you're not doing what you want to do, it's probably because deep down your faith is a little wavering. You're not really sure if you're capable of it. And noticing like those limiting thoughts every day can make a huge difference. I have so many limiting thoughts on a daily basis, and I think that's normal. I don't think it's possible to not. But if you can catch them more often than not and actually start restructuring yourself a little bit and learning how to really hype yourself up when you start doing that, then you can kind of start restructuring your day so that you're not getting so many negative thoughts, and so that your brain starts getting tricked into having just a more positive day. Because I think we all know that feeling when you're really motivated in the beginning of the day and then you hit a low, and then you're really motivated and then you hit another low. This is a way of actually training your brain for longevity, where you can go your whole day having really positive thoughts about yourself, and when you have a negative thought, knowing that it's not real. And then you can just retrack yourself to where you're really trying to be, because you don't want to slow yourself down, but your brain is trained to slow yourself down because you're doubting yourself. So that's a really, really big one, is just noticing your own patterns and how they've slowed you down in the past, and that you got to get over those to get to a more positive space so that you can create more and love what you're creating and have fun with it. And just like enjoy this life and our ability to actually create what we want in life. People make it seem like this big mumbo jumbo thing, but the reality of it is, if you want something bad enough, you can focus really hard and get it. And that is like the base of manifesting. It's not some magical thing, it's just the truth. If you really want something and you can start imagining it and creating it, then you can get it. So, do what you can this week. I'm going to do what I can. I'm actually going to be releasing a special project for you guys, and I actually finished up all the stuff for it today, which means it's going to be in your guys' Spotify soon, and I can't wait. So I will see you guys next week. I'm hoping to have a guest ready by then so that you guys can listen. And yeah, have a wonderful week.
As always, thanks for listening to Matcha with Murad. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, review, or share this with your friends. Again, thanks for listening, and talk to you guys next week.